I received a thoughtful question on my last video about agency, one that threw me into deep reflection. It connected the idea of agency to Carl Jung's theory of individuation. In trying to respond, I found myself with far more to say than a comment would hold. So here we are.
I've had so many thoughts about this, in fact, I'm still thinking about it even days later. So I'll be chiming in like this to respond to my response. What follows is a loose philosophical reflection, all sparked by a great question, simply being, is agency similar to Carl Jung's idea of individuation?
I'll put a link to the agency video up here if you haven't seen it yet. But in a nutshell, both individuation and agency are about becoming more fully yourself, but they approach that journey from opposite ends. Jung starts within, exploring the unconscious, dreams, symbols, to discover who you're meant to become. Albert Bandura, who is the leading psychologist around self-efficacy, begins with belief, helping you to realize that you have the power to act and to choose and to shape your path.
Jung is digging for the buried seed, while Bandura is helping you water the plant.
One is about self-discovery, the other, self-determination. And that's important because without belief in agency, without the sense that our choices matter, what happens isn't chaos, it's collapse. To illustrate with an example, I read recently this short story by Ted Chiang. It's sci-fi. It's called What's Expected of Us. And I actually looked up the plot summary from Wikipedia just so I don't have to stumble through a paraphrase. A small device, the predictor, looks like a remote control. It consists of a button and a green display. When you press the button, the screen flashes. However, it flashes 1 second before you click on the button, by receiving a signal 1 second from the future. Millions of these devices have been sold. The predictors create a dystopic world by providing evidence that free will is actually a myth. The future is predetermined and fixed. As a result, people become lethargic and just stop eating entirely. So people stop going to work. They stop getting dressed. The population wastes away in their beds. And why shouldn't they? If they were going to get up and get dressed and eat and go to work and live their lives, all of that would have been determined that they do so. And since, ironically, they haven't gotten out of bed yet, they weren't determined to have done it. And so great masses of the population die off. And those who never bought the determinism device go on living their lives.
It wasn't just the gadget. It was the shattering of belief that we are agents of our choices. Once they lost that belief, they lost the will to act.
You see, determinism is a parasitic idea. It enters the host upon ingestion and latches itself inside. It leeches off their values, and it siphons off meaning from their life and from their experiences. Without the belief in agency, without the conviction, without the sense that our choices matter, what happens isn't chaos. It's collapse into nihilism. Even if there is some mathematical evidence that everything is all predetermined, it is perhaps this great lie that we are telling ourselves that keeps everything going. And perhaps the word lie has such a negative connotation. Maybe a better word is truth. It is this great truth or principle that we must play our roles or die. Shakespeare is famed for having written, "All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players." And even he borrowed the idea from a poet before him who borrowed it from the Renaissance humanist Erasmus, who asks, "For what else is the life of man, but a kind of play in which men in various costumes perform until the director motions them off the stage.
We cannot live without belief in our agency. Whether it's real or not, the belief itself is what keeps us moving. It keeps us on the stage. Beliefs are actually more powerful in the subjective mind than our factual information.
Whether you believe your role is written by fate or forged by choice, you are still on the stage. What will you do with your time under the lights? Will you read your lines as expected of you? Or will you improvise? Or will you rewrite the script? We must play the roles we are given. Or, to lean into Albert Bandura's belief, we can in fact change our roles, but we must play something. To play nothing is to cease to exist. When the great director of the sky motions us off the stage, can you imagine watching a play in which an actor refused his role? How would that even go? Or a movie? It wouldn't even make it to production. An actor who refuses to play his role is rushed off the stage and then replaced with someone who will. Bandura believed we can rewrite our roles. I believe that too. Do you believe that you have the power to choose your part in the great play of life? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
This kind of integration of thought, of pulling together ideas from Jung and Bandura and philosophy and history and literature and my own personal reflections is what I call synthesis thinking. If you're curious about how to develop this skill, I've got a whole video on that, and I'll put a link to it right up here somewhere. And if this kind of reflection resonates with you and you're looking to build skills in your own thoughts, in your own ability to think and manage information and build your own agency and build confidence in yourself and have self-compassion for the learning process, my teacher friends and I have been building a course. As we continue to build it, we plan on increasing the price. But right now it's only $17, which is the lowest it will ever be, even its later sale prices. If you buy now, you'll get all of the additional stuff that we'll charge more for later for free. You get all of it for free. That's our thank you for your pre-order as we're building it. Of course, there's no pressure. These are just some resources for you if you're ready to take this further. So see the links in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.